Welcome back to the RV Shenanigans podcast. My name is Ryan, and my wife, who is not with me at the moment, is Lauren. While we were in the Midwest, we decided to pay our friends up at Blu Tech just up the road in Kalamazoo, Michigan, a little bit of a visit. We cornered Corbin, the CEO, sat down for a little conversation and talked all things water filtration and why it's important for your rig. All right, I have made my way up to Michigan. Believe it or not, this is my first time in Michigan.
First time.
On purpose, at least. I accidentally did it in Elkhart one day.
Yeah.
I got turned around. I made my way up to Blu Technology, the maker of all things water filters and accessories to go along with it in the RV industry. And I'm sitting with the president and CEO of Blu Tech. Go Blu Tech. Which version do you want to call it?
Let's go with Go Blu Tech today.
Go Blu Tech. It's also the website. Corbin Collet.
That's correct.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for coming.
All right, man. So first and foremost, what exactly is Blu Tech, Go Blu Tech?
Sure. So Blu Tech, or Go Blu Tech, as we like to refer to it, was really born out of the COVID timeframe. Like a lot of folks, including it sounds like yourself,
A little bit.
doing a little traveling during COVID. We owned some service businesses as a company, and during that time frame, obviously nobody was going anywhere in any businesses. So our company focused on more of the philanthropic side of things and realized that there was a need for hospital masks during COVID.
Okay.
We didn't know that there was a huge shortage worldwide. So we developed a process by which we were able to purify hospital masks, and we were sending them to local hospitals. So we knew that wasn't going to last forever. And so we started looking at, well, what else can we use all this knowledge that we've gained for? And we learned about a new technology, which was water LED UVC, which was portable, lightweight, 12 volt. And so what we ended up doing is taking our brains and putting them together, and we ended up patenting a very unique, lightweight, low power UVC unit. And that's really what started the whole focus on water.
Gotcha. So then from there, so that's obviously the very beginning of kind of how Blu Tech hit. But before you guys came in, especially to the RV space, what was the void that you guys kind of saw in that space that you wanted to fill?
It's a very interesting question. So we didn't really start out focusing on a market. What happened was this system you're talking about, once we came out of COVID, we started deploying it into small communities and small villages around the globe. And what it was doing was providing cleaner, safer water for small villages. So they literally were using our pump unit, which is our 0.2 micron filtration with a pump, and our UVC to get fresh water for their villages.
Okay.
We decided that once we came out of that there was something there, and we took it to our very first trade show in Tampa. And we decided to take along, Tampa, decided to take along a few of our just base filtration without the pump. And the very first day, we sold out of those systems with the feedback from the folks that were buying them. It was like, this is the most incredible build I've ever seen. Lightweight, small, compact, stainless steel, quick connect system. So that really gave us the aha moment that, hey, maybe we have a product that we can go into the RV industry with.
Right. That's cool. So, I mean, was it always the idea to do the full stainless and metal builds, or was it like, where did you guys go in the developmental process early on with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, at the very inception, we were playing with plastic like everybody else, but realized that there are a lot of issues with plastics. Sometimes if they're sourced incorrectly too, you can end up with things that actually harm you versus help you. So we went down the stainless steel path in all of our builds, and we approached it from highest level materials, really for the longevity of the build and also for corrosion resistance and for the cleanability and reliability of the canister itself.
A little bit of cleaning and wiping, you're done, versus plastic where it embeds.
And stainless steel is known for drinking water safety, right? It doesn't allow for bacterial growth on the surfaces.
And I only ask this question because I'm curious, because so many, especially RV consumers, have a bad habit of cheapest/easiest wins a lot. So when you guys first started going, how did you combat the whole, I call it the little inline or the blue canister that people can buy at Walmart and other places? How did you combat that?
Absolutely. That really came down to awareness and education. Right. So part of our mission too is to make awareness and education, not just globally, but also realizing that the U.S. has a very large problem with water as well.
Sure.
Especially when you start diving into campground water. Yeah. We all think that somebody's protecting us up top, and you realize that, especially in campground water, the owner-operator is the guy who's protecting you, right? Yeah. And so he's probably over chlorine. Yeah, sometimes. So essentially, when we talk to people, it's more about understanding what's in your water, understanding what it takes to take out, and explaining what current filtration systems are providing.
Right.
So, for example, the inline filter that I use myself as a full-timer, thinking I'm protecting my family, it's a 20 micron, right? That's barely taking out dirt. So when we educate them about that and talk about how our filters can get down into the VOCs and the heavy metals, arsenic, lead, cysts, and then you go into bacteria and viruses, people start to understand, hey, those things, and do their own research, those are maybe in my water.
Yeah. But say, I think when we first started talking, whatever it's been, years ago now, when you guys were first starting out, you guys had a graphic, or someone from your team was using a graphic that had like the microns versus what it is. It's kind of like a flow chart kind of a looking thing. And you start looking at that, and my wife's in medicine. So her the idea was like, nope. Like she goes, I knew it, but I didn't see it. Now I see it. So there's no way we're ever going to drink any of that water again.
Yeah.
And just to do your little campground conversation, you ever opened one up and it's just brown that comes out? That happens more times than I care to admit. Even before I put in the filter, I always clear the line first.
Well, and it speaks to another problem. I mean, so municipals are monitoring things at the source, right? But there's this whole delivery system on how it gets to you.
That was probably built in the 40s, 50s, or 60s.
I think the average age is like 55 years old of infrastructure, right?
It seems young, too.
Yeah. So you've got aging infrastructure, you've got boil alerts, you've got wells that are maintained by operators. So especially for folks, and that's where we really got passionate around it, is the biggest nomadic group in the U.S. is really the RV community. And that's really where we got excited, because we could help people right here in the U.S. and help them on their travels.
So your first product, which I know, what are we looking at here, just so that I know?
Yeah, so this is the evolution into that UVC system that we talked about.
Okay.
Now, what makes it so unique is, if you'll remember, our base level introduced this magical 0.2 micron.
Right.
And the magic of that is it flowed at a full rate that would not lose pressure in your RV. So our evolution of that was to take the 3 filters and turn them into 2 by combining this second stage with what we call our tasty filter, for better taste and smell, with our 0.2 micron, but then adding on an additional full flow UVC that was capable of providing enough water flow without pressure drop to your entire RV. And so this is kind of the holy grail that we've been working towards since the early days of conception. This is that UV product we patented.
Let's say, because I think I have either 1.0 or 2.0, which right now you're on what, 3 or 4.0, one of those two things.
Yeah, I think we still have them all in the marketplace, but yeah, I think this is like 3.0.
But it's funny because I can always kind of tell based on some of the trim of the thing. It's like, oh, I've got 1.0 and that's 3.0 or something like that, just because the blues are a little different on some of them.
Yeah, there has been some of
just little things, because as you guys go, I think that's one of the things that's cool about you guys and like Alliance RV, who uses y'all's filters stock on most of their coaches now. It's cool is like, you guys, when you see the need to update something, you don't wait for anything. You just kind of start doing it, and then you see it in the marketplace reasonably quickly.
Yeah, just a funny anecdote on that. It was one thing we didn't realize out of the gate was, if you actually put this at your coach, it always ends up backwards because of the way the water flows.
Yeah.
So this year we're fixing that problem, so you can actually see that from the outside.
Or you can do what I did and just, see, now you engraved them in there, because they used to be little like pop-out stickers. I just took the stickers off and moved them.
But those
so
are,
I could see.
And those are little details we're looking at as we had, the need that stickers were coming off. Well, let's put them on there permanently.
So you guys obviously filtration is number one when it comes to products, but now you guys have splintered off into pretty much anything you can think of when it comes to the RV water system, filtration system, into other products. Is there something that you kind of put in the marketplace, either recent, about to, that you went, I didn't even know this could be a thing, and it kind of took off on you without realizing it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know what it is for me, because I'm
really
curious what you say.
Yeah, well, I think our biggest hit this year that we were not expecting, we had released something called the Black Tank Flush. And it was just conceived out of, a problem statement and space, carrying around a nasty hose that's filled with who knows what. And we figured out a way to make a little apparatus that was right in line, because people were complaining about having to go hook up another hose, walking back, shutting off the bib, all these different steps. So as part of our design philosophy, it's, take the steps out, make it easier.
Right.
And that's where that was born out of.
So that just lives there permanently, or can live permanently. You can take it off if you want to, depending on your coach potentially in the room you have. But it lives there permanently. You just plug into the outside of it, and then it's a valve with a with a backflow preventer.
It's got a backflow preventer in both the normal flow as well as the Black Tank Flush.
That's cool. So for me, it was your Quick Connects.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, that's the one thing. Like I was talking to because may I real quick? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you both of them.
I've always. Like I'm a quick connect guy. I'm overall lazy, And I've bought so many of these dang things over the years, and they're not this metal. They're more of like the brass,
Right.
that kind of thing. And so they patina, they get gross over time. So I would never have one full timing that would last me longer than 5 or 6 months. But inevitably, after a few months, they would start to leak from right here.
Absolutely.
And I was talking to, I don't know if it was Chad from Changing Lanes or somebody else. We were next to him, whoever it was. And they had a set of the quick connects that you guys built. I think they literally just went and bought the quick connects because they liked them so much. They knew nothing else about it except for these are awesome. And I remember I did that for the first time, and I about took the front of my finger off and went, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard that noise, and we've had ours on our coach now for, well, some iteration of our coaches. We've had the same quick connects that came with the original system. And to this day, as long as I clean and hear it once in a while,
Right.
They've never leaked.
Yeah. We've had people who've had this since our inception, 4 years, are still using these same quick connects with no problems. And not to get into too much detail, but if you ever look into the design of a quick connect, there's a bunch of like little silly things we did, like 8 balls inside of here, the level of the spring, stainless steel 304 for drinking water safety, silicone food grade washers. So there's a whole bunch that goes into making this successful.
And if you get a quick connect on Amazon, none of that matters. They don't know what you're using it for, your garden hose or for drinking water. And I think that's an important thing that people don't necessarily realize either. So, so what is this the newest, greatest filtration system out now, or is there?
Yeah, this is the absolute newest, greatest. I mean, one of the things that we've done as well with all of our systems this year has gone through NSF certification. So
very cool.
We built it that way. We built it with all drinking water safe materials, but we felt we owed our consumers who were relying on us and letting them know we're doing what we say we're doing, as we went through and had all of these independently tested, and we got a big stamp to say these are drinking water safe. And that was a huge, huge step. So this is the latest product. And again, it's the 4-stage with the UVC on board, and it's really the ultimate mobile, small, compact system that is on the market.
So I know you guys do a bunch of other types of filters depending on, application need, that kind of stuff in the RV space. Outside of this typical, I'm going to call it a 4-stage, even though it looks like a 3-stage, or the old 3-stage version of it, what's some of the stuff that you are kind of sister products to this that maybe have a slightly different application, like any upgrade stuff, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. So I'm going to talk a little bit about just what we'll call fresh water use, right? You may be aware we have a water softener. And so the water takes care of the calcium, magnesium in the water, which protects your health, hair, and skin, but also protects your appliances and anodes in your hot water heater. In addition to that, what we've learned over time is that our systems are perfect for 98% of the situations you get in water. But the hardest thing is that people understand water is different at every single location. So over the years, we've learned about some high level of contaminants that tend to not be able to be filtered very effectively. So we developed a sister product that's called the Chi tank.
Okay.
And Chi stands for chlorine, hydrogen sulfide, and iron. So if you go look at a typical home system, they'll have a filter, they'll have a water softener, and they'll have this iron tank, right? And that's for wells typically.
Right.
And so what we've been trying to do is develop these lightweight products that allow you to mimic your home on the go. So this Chi tank helped bolt onto this and eliminate some of those campgrounds where filters just aren't enough, regardless of what filters they are, just due to the high levels of concentration.
Right.
So an owner-operator may be getting ready to test and fills his system up with bleach, and lo and behold, it's hyperchlorinated. So you can't get the chlorine taste out.
Interesting. I didn't even know that was a thing,
It's
to
a
be
thing.
completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Talking a little bit about RVers as a whole for a second, is there a particular argument that anybody's come back with in your product development, just kind of testing the waters, that said, and they just don't get it for some reason? In other words, they don't understand why they need to spend the money on an upgraded water filtration system that you've actually won over.
Sure.
Is that ever become a thing, or is it once they're sold, they understand the process and they don't
if we could bring in, I took some of our newer employees down to the Hershey show this year.
Yeah.
And they were just giddy. They came back and they said people were coming up and they have the system. It's great. They've never tasted better water. And that's really been the consensus about the system once you have it and jump in. The other part of it too that people really like about the system is I always tell people, it's not what's just in your water, it's what you can put in your water.
Yeah.
So filtration is very important because that's the most important part, but it's all the associated pieces that go together that could potentially add harm to you, right? So we learned that drinking water hoses are drinking water safe up to about 100 degrees. So we designed ours not only with the stainless steel, but we have a special liner inside that's NSF certified to not off gas and create problems for you.
Ah, gotcha.
And then we took that into regulators and splitters and all these things that are conventionally brass.
Right.
And if you've watched any of the stories about things coming in from other locations, nobody's verifying that material is brass. So you don't know what exactly is in there and what it's putting in your water.
Right.
So people like that they can come by our system, know that we've added the safest materials throughout from the bib all the way to the coach. And then additionally, I think you may be aware, we've come out with a product that also allows you then to sanitize your RV lines prior to using the system. So you end up with the safest ecosystem of water products on the market.
Yeah. Let's say now you just need to get some sort of an inline system that allows us to winterize the thing a little easier
I know,
too. Now,
that'd be great.
Doesn't help the drinking water at all, but it'd make my life a lot easier.
Absolutely.
So, and I know you guys do a lot of stuff when it comes to water filtration, but one of the things, and you kind of spoke to this earlier with some of the international villages and that kind of stuff, but you guys actually do quite a bit of work more on the charitable side of things as well. If you don't mind, what's that initiative for you guys? And if we can kind of go down that road for a second.
Absolutely. It's kind of morphed over the years. So we started out, as we've mentioned, deploying in third world countries, trying to get them clean water, which we put a lot of systems in these different locations. And then we teamed up with a charitable organization as we realized how big the global challenges are, meaning if you ship a system into a particular country, doesn't mean it'll ever end up in the village. So there's some politics to get it to where it needs to go. And that was probably bigger than us. So we teamed up with water.org to operate with them more as a contribution to their cause. We did some World Water Days, teamed up with Keystone RV and did some promotions to raise money, and then we donate as we go. Where Blu Tech took their focus was really more focused on the U.S., focused on protecting people's health, but more importantly, looking at the sustainability of water. And what I mean by that is if you look at a normal family of 4 traveling around the U.S., right, they are creating around 250 pounds of waste and bottled water waste.
Yep.
And if you translate that across all the products that we've sold, our company, on an estimate, feels that we've reduced 1,000 tons of plastic bottled waste going into landfills. And the problem with that is that water, that waste, guess where that ends up?
Most of the time, oceans.
And it ends up back in your water system as microplastics.
Gotcha.
So it's this cyclical thing that we're trying to solve a problem of cleaner water, but we're using products that create it, not to mention the microplastics that are in our bottles that are potentially harming our health.
Right. I was about to say, I mean, that's one of the things. So we were guilty of that. And then as soon as we got our filtration system on it, it's one of those things, if you don't know, you don't know. I mean, I'm that person. Like, I can be told 1,000 times, and I kind of like, the plate's hot, don't touch that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm that guy. It's like, I got to find out. Yep, that's hot.
That's hot. Absolutely.
But I'm that same person. And I remember the first few times that right before we put our filtration system on our Valor, our first coach that had it, we hooked everything up. And I thought to myself, like, wait a minute, let me sanitize the lines, the tank. Let's completely flush it, like overly aggressively. And then we hooked up to it. And once we really got we used the clean water to flush the system versus the dirty water.
Exactly.
Just kind of, I thought through the process a little bit better than just wing it and just start hosing stuff down.
Right.
And once we got it flushed out nicely, we never bought a bottle of water again unless we were just really hot at like an RV show.
Yeah.
And it became a necessity thing. But we literally both bought those big Yeti Juggo water things, and that's what we used all the time.
Absolutely.
And we didn't even think twice about it. Again, if you're in an RV, just sanitize your lines every once in a while, maybe, because he doesn't have any control over that.
Yeah, and then just on that topic, I mean, we used to get people who'd buy this system, and it's supposed to be great, and they'd taste the water for the first time, and it's, this tastes horrible. And we were like, did you clean your tank and your lines? It's like, well, no. That's like, well, okay, let's start there. So that's actually where that bleach-free product came from. It was a solution to give our customers to be able to take care of that problem.
Gotcha.
So
genius. So this question be taken 15 different ways. So I'm going to start off as a company, and we'll kind of niche down into the filters and everything else. But where do you see Blu Tech going 2026, since we're almost there, and on. It's crazy. We're almost in 2026. Wow.
It's amazing.
And kind of the next few years.
So really our focus and continual focus has been on this awareness and education. Until you understand you have a problem, there's no sense spending $10, let alone some additional money for that problem statement. So some of our biggest exciting things coming out this year will be a way to put kind of your own water quality in your fingertips. Can't really get too far into details because it's pretty revolutionary. So we're doing on some things primarily around the awareness piece. And then secondarily, a lot of people don't understand this, but there are a list of contaminants that are monitored, right? So the Safe Drinking Water Act of 1974 puts out these contaminants and they add to it every year. And so we're staying in tune with what some of the additional contaminants they're identifying that are problems and working towards solutions for those particular contaminants as well.
Which is, at least, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, which is way ahead of what, let's say, like the EPA kind of puts out. It's almost, you're proactively thinking in front of them.
We're in line with what they're doing. Yeah. So we're trying, I mean, it's very difficult because, they've got giant processing plants to make this water change into something generally good for you, regardless of the infrastructure. But we're trying to do that as best we can in this mobile application, which is where the innovation comes in.
Right. Gotcha. Is there any expansion potential outside the RV space?
We have been
for new homeowners. Yeah,
we've had some really cool things happen this year. We do have some friends and family that are using our systems in their home, including myself, as test beds, right?
Sure.
But the biggest evolution really has been that initial system that we deployed for the small villages has now been adopted into some defense and to some disaster relief organizations. Really cool product. It's going to be, we're excited about that deployment. We're continuing to try to understand how to best help the overlanding community as well.
Yeah.
Because,
it's a unique situation.
Well, it is. You've got solar that you can pull from the sun, but you've got to have water too, right? Or you can't. So we've got a system, as we've said, with a pump on board that allows you to draw from lakes and streams. It's just coming up with better ways to make that more user-friendly.
Well, I was going to say not user-friendly, but that's got to be an extreme version because it's not like, getting water from a campground, at least it went through a treatment plant of some kind.
Something.
Again, the delivery system's questionable at best, but at least there was intent at the source to do something. And then obviously as it comes, if it's out of a stream or a well or something else, it's just whatever.
It is whatever, and we've been working really hard. What I've been told is our effectiveness is like a life straw at 3 GPM, if that makes some sense. So
not to me, but
well, it's that little thing you suck
I know what that is, but I don't know what 3 GPM means. Sorry.
Full flow, right? So your house flows probably at 2.2 out of a faucet, for example.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, so flow rate. I'm with you now.
Yeah, flow
gotcha.
rate.
I catch on eventually.
So,
as far as let's just, and I'm saying this as the pipe dream, like what's the ideal situation in 10, 15 years from now, product wise? Like, is there something that's just it's a pipe dream now, but technology's kind of catching up with you, or is it just slow and steady pace wins the race kind of a thing?
Well, I think you mentioned some homes, and we are, if you didn't notice this year, we launched an XLT version, which is the same durable construction, still 50% smaller than most of the competitive products, but to try to address the small cabin and or off-grid living.
Sure.
So we'll continue to evolve into that space, and it has, the same challenges. Water is water, I guess, right? Evolution-wise, we'll continue as a product line in the water sector to, again, monitor what's coming at us and provide solutions. We'll provide additional accessories. We've got a fun little shut-off relief valve coming, just little things that make it easier for the campers, and we'll continue to always do that. But you may see, Blu Tech expand beyond just the water category. And the reason is we feel like our approach from a design philosophy and the fact that we're kind of a form over function company, that things look great, they're built well, that there's room in other categories potentially that can benefit from our design philosophy and our mission statement.
Well, I was going to say, even just from the third party, it's just the construction of everything. Let alone just, let's tilt that forward. Just the amount of fasteners that are in that alone. That canister probably doesn't need 4 fasteners, but it's got them.
Right.
Kind of a thing. And it's just one of those where it's just built right. It's not going to screw with you, essentially. It's a fastener. I said screw with you. Sorry, but that's
Yeah, most of our team comes from, we're ex-automotive folks as
Gotcha.
well, right? So we have another business that is operating in quality in automotive every day. So a lot of this high end, we've seen failures. We know what fails. We know, CPK studies for people who are technical, but all that design philosophy and years of being in automotive is now being transferred into these designs for OEM, which
right.
is somewhat unique, right?
So I will say too, we're starting to see some OEM RV manufacturers place at least a single stage at bare minimum, which is one of those I always view it as better than nothing.
Yeah, very cool.
But still not the premium version of that stuff. But it'll kind of keep everything cool. Like I believe is besides Alliance, who else is doing that?
We have that on Puma, the Puma line,
yep.
and we've also had it on some of the Forest River and Riverstone over time as we've moved to the stainless. That's kind of been obsolete, but we're coming back around now with our stainless offerings.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, too, the cool thing about the products is if you have a unique mounting situation, you don't just have canisters like this. You make them where you can mount them on a wall, and then they're freestanding without the cage. This one's meant to be, I guess, inside or outside. It's just versatile.
Right.
Ours depends on the day for us, but if it's getting cold outside, we would put them inside.
Exactly.
Warm and in the way, outside.
Yeah, I think you're aware we offer it in a 1, 2, and 3 stage with different types of filtration. Then we offer these also in, like you're saying, permanent mount for people who don't want to have something portable and built in. I think the newest thing, just to put a little plug in there, is we are launching a really cool new UV product called the Under-Sink UVC.
Okay.
And what it allows you to do is to plumb that in instead of having a DIY solution.
Yeah.
Just simply unscrew your 2 connection points, one on the faucet and one on the shutoff, and it literally goes inline so that your cold faucet will always be UV protected, so that even if you have our system, when you're running off the tank, it's protecting you. It's another line of defense for what's growing in that tank.
But especially if that's like if you get your drinking water from the kitchen sink kind of a thing, it's just one extra layer. Because when you said that, I assumed there'd be a secondary.
And we do offer a secondary faucet.
Right.
But what we've learned is that unless you like DIY projects, it's not hard, but it does take a little bit of skill.
Does anybody like a DIY project, or are we just giving them?
I don't know. I think as husbands,
I've been giving them. I mean, occasionally I come up with a new idea and I'm like, let's try this. And then 2 minutes later, I'm like, that was dumb. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And then I hire a mobile tech.
Exactly. That's what that's for.
Perfect, man. Where can everybody find all of the stuff for Blu Tech?
Yeah. We've been expanding kind of our accessibility footprint, right? So currently today, obviously at gobluetech.com is a great place to find everything. And then we do have some strong partnerships with companies like Mobile Must Have, Techno RV, eTrailer, and General RV that you can find our products in store. And
then what shows do you guys like to go to show? It's show season. So we got to talk about that. I know you were at Hershey.
Absolutely. So we're typically at Hershey and we're at the Tampa show.
Yep.
And then we do have a dealer network that is now starting to cover rallies that are on our behalf.
Okay.
And then our partners, Techno RV, cover probably around 60 shows. So if you come to our website, find a location, you'll see where we'll be at next with product.
So in other words, if you messed up like I do sometimes and you forgot to order filters, you can start finding them at a lot of dealerships. If you're at one of those storefronts that happens to carry your product, then they will more than likely have it at a show if you're looking for it there. I've learned to just, when I'm replacing filters, I always have a backup. When it goes in, I order the next one.
Yeah.
And then I just move on.
And we do love it when people come back and, work directly with the Blu Tech store. But we also just recently put filters back on Amazon by popular demand, right? So,
which is more code for we're lazy and like that one spot.
We want it right now. Yeah.
Subscribe, reordered, and then they don't have to mess with it.
Exactly.
Perfect. I will add links to everything in the show notes if you're listening to this down below or on YouTube in the description. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate the time.
Hopefully you enjoyed that look into all things Blu Tech and why what they do means so much for the RV industry. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we'll have links down below in the description or the show notes, depending on how you're listening or watching this podcast, to everything we talked about in the episode. Thank you so much, and we can't wait to chat with you next week.